Hot Springs Village Inside Out is a closer look at the greatness of Hot Springs Village, Arkansas, and the surrounding areas. People, places, experiences. Hot Springs Village is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Join me, Randy Cantrell, and my co-host Dennis Simpson as we engage in weekly conversations to explore Hot Springs Village Inside Out. Today's show is brought to you by Central Arkansas's favorite radio station, KVRE. Find them on the dial at 92.9 FM. Stream them live at kvre.com. Today's show is brought to you by RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village. The award-winning RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village is the largest real estate office inside the village with over 30 full-time agents and support staff. Visit them to learn more about this beautiful place to solve your real estate needs. Call them at 1-800-364-9007. Find them online at explorehsv.com. They are RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village at 1-800-364-9007 or online at explorehsv.com. HSV Inside Out is also brought to you by Ike Eisenhower State Farm. Ike and his award-winning team have been serving the insurance needs of folks all around Hot Springs Village since 1998. Ike has qualified for State Farm's President's Club, Chairman Circle, and Hot Springs Village Insurance Agent of the Year. Call Ike Eisenhower State Farm today at 501-984-4100. That's 501-984-4100. Find them online at ikeeisenhower.net. Call them today for all your insurance needs because, like a good neighbor, Ike Eisenhower State Farm is there. Hi, Randy Cantrell here. HotSpringsVillageInsideOut.com. That's the website. The short way to get there is HSVInsideOut.com. I'm coming to you to ask for your help. Don't worry, not going to cost you any money. Might cost you a little bit of time, but need your feedback. Let me give you some context. I first visited the village in 2018, and fast forward and spent every spare open time that I had here, and spent a significant amount of money coming over to visit and loved it. We ended up buying a piece of property, and then about a year ago, we bought a house here in the village, and we split our time between here and Texas, mostly because of work and partly because of family. So kind of keep the road hot between here and Dallas-Fort Worth. Love my neighbors, love the neighborhood, love my house. It's all good. In August of last year, I began a Google document that Dennis and I have kind of massaged around, and I titled it Hot Springs Village Inside Out Quantum Leap Plan. I don't like incremental improvement. I mean, it's great. It's the right direction, but why improve something 2% if you could improve it 20%? And so I'm going to share a little bit of what I shared with Dennis in that document, and I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. The main reason I'm doing it is to pull the curtain back and let you know how motivated we are and how determined I am to improve this podcast. When I began the show and solicited Dennis to kind of be a bit of a co-pilot with me, it was 100% driven by my curiosity. And frankly, it still is, because I'm still relatively new around here. And the great thing is I have not found the village to be cliquish at all. Like I said, I love my neighbors, love the neighborhood, and everybody that we encountered, every Airbnb host that we ever had, they were great, terrific. The neighbors were great and terrific. So my experience, I think, is typical. But let me share some of this document with you, and at the end, I'm gonna ask you to provide some help for us. My move to Hot Springs Village was the compelling motive behind last year taking a hard look at the show and saying, we want to get better, to produce a better show together. And once we had a house here, then now it was like, okay, well, now we're going to have really a big game changer. There were really two things that were going to be big game changers. One is I wanted more video. I wanted us to showcase the place because, well, what's not to love? Also, the fact that I was going to be spending more time here would mean that Dennis and I could do some things that we couldn't do before. Everything had to be kind of remote and by Zoom. Before I turned 20 years old, I had figured out there is a business life truth, and that is the biggest difference I have found in performance and accomplishment is belief. The belief that it can be done, whatever it is, and the belief that we can do it. My life has been spent implementing that belief in building organizations where superior, no excuses kind of customer happiness wasn't just possible, but we were able to replicate it day after day after day after day. And so I haven't intentionally kind of lived with that no excuses kind of a mindset. So part of this document was me throwing down the gauntlet to challenge both myself and Dennis. Let's make up our mind to be better. Let's make up our mind to be the very best. We know that we are the constraint. We know that we are the challenge. And it's partly our capacity. It's partly just, humans. We're the problem. We've met the enemy, and he is us. So I had taken a whole bunch of notes, and I was trying to distill it kind of into this quantum leap document that I've described. Because for me, it was like, why would people click play? Why would people watch our show? Why would people listen to our show? Can we dramatically improve the content, and can we dramatically improve as hosts? My belief was, and my belief still is, the answer to both of those is yes. The answer is yes. Now, to what degree are we willing? Time will tell. Curiosity was and continues to be my motivation behind the show. And I've still got a boatload of questions. I do professional coaching. I focus on city government leaders. My coaching is best described as leadership executive kind of coaching. And a big part of that is the pursuit of what I call the ideal outcome. So when I go in to coach a client, it's their life, it's their career. I don't have a vote. I'm just simply trying to facilitate to help them make their dream come true, whatever dream that may be. And I want them to focus on what's the ideal outcome. Some years ago, I chose that phrase because, if we're going to pursue it, would it be exciting to you to pursue the average outcome, the mediocre outcome, the kind of satisfactory outcome? Why? Let's pursue the ideal outcome. What's the very best that we could hope to accomplish? And so I laid out some ideal outcomes. One of our ideal outcomes as a podcast is for you to click play and for you to care about what you are watching, this is infotainment. It's information, hopefully done in an entertaining way. And I'm the first to tell you that I realize that we're not as entertaining as we think we are. I get that. You get that. We all get that. But to have you care about the content, to have you care enough to click play and to submit whatever time that takes for you to watch and consume our shows, that's a big ask. It's a huge ask. And so that's my ideal outcome, is for you to click play. But let's carry it further. That's not just the ideal outcome. That's just the beginning of the ideal outcome. Then the ideal outcome is for you to subscribe, and then for you to click play again and again and again and again, because The show is fun. The show is informative. The show is impactful. The show answers some questions. And that's the ideal outcome. That's what we're after. Now, I'm not going to go through the document with you. I've got it up here in a monitor that I'm kind of looking at. But these are things that I shared with Dennis, and we've been having conversations now for going on a year. Yeah, I can hear you. I can already hear you. Wait a minute, a year? Well, I haven't seen an improvement in a year. Yeah, well, that's kind of the point. It's time to grow. Those of us that have kids, the kids went through growing spurts. I mean, I've got a grandson, and it was like, okay, well, man, is he ever going to hit his growing? Okay, well, he did. He did. And over the course of like a year, he grew like a foot, but it took a while. Another grandson, it didn't happen like that. It was, he just grew and grew and grew and kept growing and still growing, taller than I am. Here's where you come in, and here's the ask. We need your help to get better. And this isn't about criticism or anything. It's about you telling us what kind of show do you want? What do you care about? It will not help HSV Inside Out as a show to become better if we don't know what you care about. There's no point in us going and producing shows that nobody cares about. Now, I'll freely admit that sometimes we may do shows that we care about, but by and large, we need to do shows that you care about. The hope is that if we care about it, that you will too, or some of you will, but I'm really intent on us listening to you. Now, over at our Facebook group, and if you're not there, go to the website, hsvinsideout.com. You'll see a Facebook icon, and you can click that. It's a public group. Anybody can join it, and I would encourage you to do that, to join it. We've got, 5,200 people over there. I get feedback, and some of our content is driven by the feedback that I get, and the only reason some of it is because I don't profess that we get just boatloads and boatloads of feedback. We get pretty consistent feedback, and I'll tell you who we hear from. And this is kind of the avatar. Businesses kind of have an avatar. That is, okay, who's your ideal customer? Who do you really want to serve? This kind of has become our avatar. And I'll tell it to you, and then I'll explain. We mostly hear from people that are probably in their 60s. They are retired or they're going to retire. They're looking for the next place to land. They live on one coast or the other coast or up north. They are looking for mild climate, mild in the winter mostly, those people that are back east and from up north. They love trees. If you were to ask them the question in a lightning round, beaches or trees, they would admit that they love beaches, but trees would probably be their first answer, not beach. They politically are more moderate. They're more conservative. Now, our show is not political. We're not red. We're not blue. We're purple. I have opinions. Dennis has opinions. It's not important for us that you know what those are. Safe to say we're both definitely of a more conservative bent, traditional values and all of that. We don't make any apologies about that. But people are looking for that too. They're also looking for cost of living. They're looking for their dollar to go further. And so when people come from a big city like a Dallas-Fort Worth or a Houston or a Chicago, or people come from places where the economies are just dramatically different. For instance, real estate prices in California versus real estate prices in this part of the country where dollars can go way further. That's important. That's important to these people as they grow older. These are people that are looking for somewhat of an active lifestyle. These aren't people that want to just sit at home and stare at a television all day. Some days they may, but these are people that are happy to get out and hike or walk, take day trips, go to the golf course, maybe fish. They're looking for some degree of social interaction and activity. That, by and large, is who we hear from. And many of the shows that we produce is a result of the feedback and some of the questions that we get from those people. I'll make a fishing analogy. That's our avatar, and the odds are that that hits you. Now, you may be younger than in your 60s, you may be over your 60s, but that, by and large, has been who we have found to be. Well, let me preface this by saying that's the audience that we hear from. The fishing analogy is this. If that's who we want to appeal to, and there's no question it is, but that doesn't mean they're the only ones that we want to appeal to. If you and I were to go hit one of the local lakes and decide we want to fish for largemouth bass, then we're going to go at the time of day. We're going to find the water where largemouth bass are, and we're going to use the kind of lures that they prefer, and we're going to fish during the kind of conditions that are favorable for that. If we land a 10-pound catfish, well, he's a happy accident. We're keeping him. We're going to eat him for dinner. But we're really fishing for largemouth bass. So our show really works in a much similar fashion. While what I've just described seems to be the bulk of the people that we at least hear from who enjoy and love our show and care about it, there are many, many others that are happy accidents. We had a couple that moved here from Dallas-Fort Worth just down the street from us. They're in their late 30s. They're both able to work remotely, and they just kind of wanted to get out of Dodge. Okay, well, that's not our avatar. Happy to have them. Love having them. It's great. It's wonderful. So I hope that makes some sense for you. Listen, the point really is twofold, and I'll wrap this up lest I take any more of your time. Number one is to let you know that we're very determined and committed to improve ourselves, to improve our show. And you play a big role in that. You play a big role in helping us produce shows that you most care about. There is no point in us producing shows that you don't care about. We want to do shows that provide some value to you because you got a lot of things that you can do with your time. So here's the ask. Go over to the website, hsvinsideout.com. There's a contact page over there. It's up in the navigation. Just click on contact and just tell us. Yeah, there'll be a place for your name and email address, and just tell us what you want. It's completely confidential. Might want to reach back out to you by email and push the conversation forward a little bit more to get a little more insight. You can be as long as you want. You can be as short as you want. Just tell us, give us some ideas of, I'd like to hear about this. We did a show just last week on smaller houses inside the village. That was prompted by a question. It was prompted by a question, I think it was over at YouTube, where somebody asked, what about smaller houses? So we did a show about that. Was it exhaustive? No. Could we hop down that rabbit trail even further? We could, and we very well may. But that show idea came from you. That didn't come from us. So this is where you can make a big, big difference. And so I'm asking for your help. Again, go to hsvinsideout.com, find the contact form over there, and just tell us whatever you want to tell us. And I promise you that we'll read it. I promise if you share your email address, which I don't think is required, but if you share your email address, I promise that I'll email you back and tell you, hey, thanks for the feedback. I'll at least let you know that we got it. And We'll try to make the show better. We have a lot of exciting things planned in the future. And as we're getting kind of our video chops under us, you have seen more video and you're going to see more video, and we're going to get better at that. So we're in a little bit of a learning curve, and it's all good, and we're really excited. But this is all about Hot Springs Village Inside Out Quantum Leap. We want to take a quantum leap in being a show that you care about. So let me end by saying thank you. Thank you for clicking play. If you subscribe, whether it's through email or whether it's through a podcast platform, preferably because we're increasingly doing more video, we would ask you to subscribe over at YouTube. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Randy Cantrell, HSVInsideOut.com. Thanks for watching and listening to Hot Springs Village Inside Out, a weekly podcast starring Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. Visit the website at hotspringsvillageinsideout.com.